Welcome to the Morgan Homestead. It's been a while since we've recorded anything. We've been pretty busy at our home in the city and up here. We'll show you everything we've been up to in a minute. Right now we're getting ready to head over to the greenhouse. It's been like 3 days since Kevin's been over there. It's been a week since I've been over there. I have no idea what we're going to encounter over there. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. So we want to talk a little bit about the things that we want to change for next year. Um, just the things that we don't think that worked out very well this year. So we want to go over some of that.
Yeah, I made some mistakes on some of the stuff that we planted inside the greenhouse. They obviously got too big. They took it over. It's a jungle. You can't even get around in there. So some things we'll be planting outside next year, but we'll bring you over there now and show you what we're talking about. Okay, we're just about ready to walk into the greenhouse, and you'll see what we mean by learning what to plant in there and what not to plant in there. All right, so this is our squash plant, it looks like. I see a small little squash over there. And it has taken over the entire greenhouse, and as has our tomato plants to the right. We also have a couple cucumber plants in there. There's a tomatillo plant way in the back here that is almost to the ceiling. It's almost impossible to get in here and water. Over to the right here, you'll see a bunch of totes that are empty. I had cauliflower plants in there. I ended up taking them out. It was too hot for cauliflower plants. They just weren't producing any fruit. We got two small cauliflowers, and then that was it. So I took them all out. But our peppers are all doing really good over here. We have some celery growing over here. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be getting real thick. We'll see. That's been growing for quite some time. We have harvested some banana peppers from a couple of these plants over here. And I think our jalapenos are doing well over here, but I don't know how I'm going to get to them to find that out.
So the corn is getting pretty tall. So that's growing really well. Starting to get tassels on top now too. So that's good. Beets are growing really well. I mean, look at the corn compared to Sandy over there.
I'm
Crazy.
5'1" actually, but yeah, it's huge.
And the potatoes are doing really well. And beets. And then we got a tomato plant in a pot over there by Sandy that's doing really well as well. And a little bit of lettuce, starting some lettuce. That lettuce is doing pretty good. So last time I had said that I was going to give an update on what was getting in the garden. So we put this fence up because we did have something get in there and bite a couple of the corn stalks off. And then I put up some cameras just to see if we could catch anything in the act. But ever since we put the fence up and the cameras up, nothing has come around. So, I mean, we're thinking it was probably deer. If it would have been raccoons, we're thinking it probably would have destroyed the whole garden. But because only like two or three corn stalks were chewed off, we're thinking it was probably just a deer passing by. So that's the update on that. But the fence seems to be doing its job. I mean, nothing has gotten in here since, so that's a good thing.
So this is the view from the other side of the greenhouse. And again, as you can see, this squash plant has just taken over. It is just all the way down the aisle. This is that tomatillo plant. I mean, it is just absolutely huge. My peppers have done well. And here's some jalapenos. Actually, these are not jalapenos, which are like jalapenos, but they don't have the, I mean, they taste like them, but they don't have the spice. Down here, I have a ton of jalapenos growing. More you can see growing in here. I'm going to have a ton. I'm going to have to harvest some of these today to keep that producing. Sorry, I'm going to show you the other side here. More pepper plants growing in the corner. The tomato plants are huge, halfway up the greenhouse here. And then there's some tomatoes growing, but I don't know, they're not getting huge. I don't know how long they take. I'm a rookie at this. Oh, so there's Kevin. You can see how high, and Kevin's 5'11", so you can see how tall the tomato plants are. Oh my gosh. But this tomatillo is just nuts. And I don't know, have you seen any fruit on this one yet, Kev? So on this tomatillo plant that's like 7, 8 feet, 9 feet tall, it's got a ton of flowers. I don't know if anyone knows anything about these, but we can't find a single fruit on it yet. Just tons of flowers. So we don't know if they're all male flowers. I don't even know how to tell, but I've heard that. Like, if your plant is just producing male flowers, you won't get fruit. So if anyone can give us any advice on that, that would be great. But yeah, it's just absolutely huge in here. And not a single tomatillo to be found, but a gazillion flowers. So any advice or help on that would be great. This one is in dirt. It's not in hydroponics, so let us know. And this is another tomato plant right next to it. It's just a regular tomato plant. It's not as high, but as you can see, we do have fruit on that one. So
it's drooping.
Yeah, it is drooping over into the pathway here, but there is fruit. Quite a bit on this one. So they're sharing the same dirt. Not sure what's going on. They're sharing the same space, but no fruit. Oh, this on the end here is our kohlrabi. I've never even had kohlrabi, so I don't even know when these are ready to harvest. But yeah, we're getting a lot of tomato plants, but harvesting in here is going to be kind of difficult. I mean, watering in here is difficult. So needless to say, like we mentioned earlier, we are doing this different next year. I will not be putting these tall vine plants in the greenhouse. So the squash and the cucumbers and the tomatoes, all of that is going to be outside. We're going to add some more raised beds out here, and we're going to put all of that out here. Inside in the raised bed, I'd like to just do radishes, maybe onions, some carrots, maybe some beets, or what do you think?
Yeah, probably mostly just root vegetable type things that grow a little shorter, because right now it's kind of chaotic the way it is right now, to be honest. So and overwhelming. It's
almost impossible to water. I don't know. I live and learn, right?
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that.
Yeah, this year was kind of a learning process for us. You know, what the best way is to do things, and we did find some better ways, I think, for next year that we're going to do.
Yeah. So we'll get to work on raised beds and adding more garden space out here. We're going to have to, obviously move the perimeter, the fencing as well. So we've got a lot of work to do for next year.
Yeah, I mean, the fencing that we have up right now was supposed to be temporary anyway. So we will be expanding on that, making that larger. Like she said, we'll be adding at least 2 more raised beds, maybe 4. We'll see how it goes and what we want to plant for next year. But definitely the garden layout's going to look a lot different for us next year. So the Cracky Hydroponics is working. We just plan on making a little bit of change as far as how we're keeping the water level up a little bit. I mean, we've only had to add water to the totes, I think maybe 2 times. So it hasn't been that big of a deal, but we're just trying to modify it a little bit to make it a little easier for us. So one other plan that we had, so this year we've been doing as far as the hydroponic totes is we've been mixing the nutrients up in a 5-gallon bucket. So measuring out the correct amount of nutrients for a 5-gallon bucket and then just dumping it into each tote. It's working okay, but it's just a lot more work. So next year we're thinking about changing up that a little bit. We'll keep the same totes, but I'm going to add a water tank, and then I'm going to run piping to each tote. So one main line for the tote, all the totes, and then off of that main line I'll have some tees that go to each tote, and then inside the tote I'm going to be putting in floats so that we can kind of keep the water level at a certain level all the time, and as the water drops, the float drops and we'll fill the tote back up again, and then the float will float and shut the water off for each tote. So that way we have a little bit more of an automatic watering system for the hydroponics, and that should make it a little bit less work for us for next year.
So this is what we harvested today out of the garden. These are all the peppers that came out of the hydroponics. We've got some banana peppers, some jalapeno peppers.
Jalapenos.
Oh, these are not jalapeno?
There's some of them are jalapenos, some of them are not jalapenos.
And we don't know which.
No, actually we don't.
We don't. And then we've got some red peppers. And then these are some cucumbers. I think these were actually the type that they are. They're supposed to grow more pickle size. So I think we're supposed to pick them when they're smaller, but oh well.
And these are actually banana peppers, but they turned red. So we'll see how those taste.
Yeah, that'll be kind of cool. And then what are these, Kevin?
These are beets. 2 different kinds of beets. This one's a beet that when you cut it open, it's kind of spiraled inside. And then this is just the standard purple beet. And
those are 3 cabbage that I grew in the greenhouse, and I'm going to transplant into our other garden and see if they grow out there. But this is what we got so far today. So we are filming our harvest in the back of our new Can-Am Commander side-by-side. We just picked this up 2 days ago. Kevin sold his Corvette, and I'll show you a picture of that right here. And we decided that this was more practical for use around the homestead. We took it for a ride yesterday, our very first ride in the trails. Northern Minnesota has some awesome trails, so we went 45 miles in this, and we had a blast. So we'll be using this quite a bit around the homestead. It's going to help us get a lot of work done. So you'll be seeing us in this. But thanks for joining us. If you want to see more updates on our greenhouse and our harvest and our chickens and everything that we're doing next, please like and hit subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It just helps you to follow along with us. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.